Zombies. We love to see them, we'd fucking hate to be stuck with them. For decades, human fiction has tormented characters with endless hordes of the undead, ranging from slow, mindless hordes to night-mutating monsters. Today we're putting ourselves in their shoes, and we will see how you and the rest of humanity was fare in 6 of the fucking worst zombie apocalypses ever conceived. I have specially picked these 6 fictional zombie apocalypses, because each of them is different in how they portray the struggles of the end of the world. It's not all hordes of walkers or sprinters. No, here each apocalypse offers something completely different to utterly fuck your day over. Before we begin our deep dive, we need to set the ground rules to figure out which scenario is truly the worst. We will grade them across 3 categories. The first is survival rate. What percentage of humanity actually makes it? Is it a manageable crisis or absolute extinction? The next is suffering level. Sure, survival sounds great, but what's the point of surviving if your very existence becomes hell? Finally, we have collapse speed. How fast will society crumble? What's the point in even trying to prepare if humanity has no time to react? Let's start at the bottom, with the most manageable apocalypse we will cover. The Walking Dead. The definitive useless dumbass zombie. I mean, look at this guy. So cute, look at him. The reason this is at the bottom of the list is, come on. Walkers are slow, predictable, and easy to handle. Literally your biggest threat is this shit.
If Cupcake wants to put on a show, let her put on a show.
There is a key twist here though. Everyone is infected. If we placed you in this scenario, you along with every other person you meet is infected. If you die, you turn into a zombie. This is why the apocalypse happened at all. A rapid initial panic was caused, which broke down military control and supply lines within weeks. The rapid long-term decay of society is slow but steady. And unless humanity realises that any death causes reanimation, it's almost certainly the end for society. Every hospital, every nursing home, and every car crash will produce a new zombie, inside even the most secure of walls, without a single bite ever occurring. It will never be possible to create a community without zombies in The Walking Dead, and that's part of why it's so terrifying. And that's not even the main threat in The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead isn't exactly a zombie show. It's more of a show exploring the human condition, with zombies as the main plot driver. But they're not the sole focus of the story. This is why The Walking Dead has never covered how the world actually fell. It's just not important for the story they're trying to tell. They want to show how human trust falls in a world where primal instincts and brutal nature reign supreme, and daily struggles for clean water, healthcare and food are universal. For this scenario to work, we have to assume humanity has already fallen, and you are a survivor. That is what makes The Walking Dead so deadly. If we're just taking it at face value, the pure physical threat of the dead is laughably easy. Literally walking around is enough to survive them, and that's why it's at the bottom of the list. However, the human cost and basic survival becomes a slow, exhausting grind, making this still a deadly and horrific scenario for any human to live in. Let's now decide how hard it would be to survive in The Walking Dead. Physically, it's the easiest. Just walk around and survive the walkers easily. But on the other hand, long-term survival and food will be a fucking nightmare. Water, food, shelter, healthcare, they would all be daily struggles, and securing long-term supplies and trusting allies would be nearly impossible. We'll give this a medium for survival rate. It's not too hard, but it's not exactly easy either. Now we'll review suffering level. How bad will surviving be for you? Because everyday survival will be a nightmare, you'll never get a single night of peaceful rest, so I'm giving this a high. You will be in psychological distress constantly, and you will almost certainly lose all your humanity before the year is out. Finally, let's see collapse speed. I'm giving The Walking Dead a slow collapse speed. Slow, but it's a constant burn. Zombies will keep appearing every time someone dies, but they won't be able to cause a mass chain reaction. It'll be slow and steady, but the end will still be assured regardless. Now we'll go on to the next on our list, World War Z. The book version, because the movie version fucking sucks. If The Walking Dead is a slow, agonizing crawl, World War Z is like a fucking inevitable tidal wave of destruction. At first glance, individual zombies here are basically the same as The Walking Dead. Slow, weak, dare I say, fucking retarded. But World War Z isn't about one-on-one fights. It's about the total logistical nightmare of an actual war against the dead. In World War Z, the infection spreads across the globe through illegal organ trades and black market routes, leading it to become a global infection before governments even know about its existence. Once the global militaries were finally mobilized, they discovered they are completely useless. Tank shells, artillery and shock don't work on enemies that don't feel pain, never bleed, and never panic. Whole armies collapsed, not because of firepower, no, but because they lacked any means to effectively deal with this endless wall of zombies. They ignore the fundamental rule of all zombie fiction. Aim for the fucking head, you idiot. What defines World War Z is mass panic, nightmare logistics, and systemic failure across the globe. It's about how the real world would fare against an actual war against zombies. Let's see how hard it would be to survive World War Z. Unlike The Walking Dead, you can't just simply hide away or keep running. Millions of zombies will form massive, relentless swarms that sweep across whole continents. Unless you can evacuate to remote frozen regions or isolated islands, your survival odds drop to single digits. Simply staying alive in World War Z is pure misery. Supply lines are the game here, and the governments of the world show blatant incompetence in logistics. You will starve, be in severe weather conditions, get cut off from supply lines, and encounter panic on a global scale. Suffering level here is extremely high. While zombies themselves move slowly, the global panic and failure of human infrastructure moves fast. I'm giving World War Z a slow to medium collapse speed. It's slow and constant, with the zombies relentless in their sweep. But the zombies are slow. The end is inevitable, but it will be slow. More days to weeks than hours. Now let's move on to The Last of Us. Here we move past simple reanimated corpses and encounter our first proper zombies. It's a living, mutating fungal nightmare. In The Last of Us, the apocalypse is caused by the cordyceps fungus, which has evolved to infect humans. The infected individuals possess speed and strength significantly stronger than actual people, and progress in 4 main stages. The mechanisms by which you can get infected and what you will suffer when you get infected are incredibly horrific. Getting infected doesn't mean death. It means you will still live, alive and conscious, but unable to control yourself. You will become a prisoner in your own body, doomed to aid the fungal growth and spreading. In The Last of Us, the outbreak didn't start from bites, but rather mass-produced food supplies became contaminated with fungal spores. Before the outbreak began, millions were already doomed to die from the food they ate. Additionally, you can get infected by simply breathing in the spores of fungal growths, led behind by dead infected, making gas masks mandatory. Initially upon being bit, a person has a 1 to 2 day period before they turn into a runner. Runners are fast and seek anything to spread the infection. A runner, if left alone, eventually turns into a stalker, sneaky and silent, and prefers to stay in the shadows before striking. After this, the cordyceps can burst through the skull, blinding the person and turning them into a clicker. Finally, if a clicker is left undisturbed for many years, it turns into a bloater, the strongest and most dangerous form of infected. Over 60% of humanity was wiped out in the initial months, with zero vaccine and airborne hazards in nearly every structure. Surviving here requires supplies, ammo and shelter, things that aren't easy to come by in the apocalypse. Survival rate, low. Constant need for gas masks, living under authoritarian rule, or ruthless hunters, plus an agonizing 1 to 2 day transformation period. Surviving here is nearly impossible, but living here and having a good time? Good luck. Millions turned within 24 to 48 hours via basic food supplies, which caused the government to collapse almost immediately and force martial law and quarantine zones. Society collapsed fast, but it also rebuilt fast. Collapse speed, medium. Now we'll go on to the next on our list. Resident Evil's T-Virus. Resident Evil is what happens when human greed intentionally designs a bioweapon in a lab. At first glance, a basic T-Virus zombie looks like a standard walker, but this scenario isn't just about standard zombies. It's about biologically enhanced horrors and extreme biological mutations. In Resident Evil, the infection doesn't just spread through bites. The T-Virus contaminates local water supplies and is carried around through the city by pests, infecting entire populations before anyone realizes they're sick. As the virus takes over, it causes the brain to degrade, an insane cannibalistic hunger. But it doesn't just stop there. If a corpse is destroyed, it undergoes a secondary mutation into fast, razor-clawed crimson heads. Worse still, Umbrella Corporation's intentional engineering creates nightmare bioweapons, like ceiling-crawling lickers and massive, unstoppable tyrants sent down to destroy survivors. Let's see how hard it would be to survive the T-Virus. You aren't just hiding from slow corpses, you're dealing with waterborne contagion, mutating wildlife, and bioengineered killing machines. Unless you have a very rare genetic immunity, your odds of surviving the outbreak are virtually zero. Survival rate, low. Simply existing during a T-Virus outbreak is a nightmare. You will have to avoid drinking the contaminated water, suffering a slow mental breakdown, and being hunted by hyper-aggressive mutations, while the corporate mercenaries actively sabotage rescue efforts. Suffering level, extreme. Between water supply contaminations, rat vectors, corporate cover-ups delaying any public response, an entire city collapsing in less than a week, and ending with extreme nuclear strikes, the collapse speed is extremely high. Now we'll go on to the next on our list, the dyinglight Haran virus. If the previous scenarios were about military collapse or bioweapons, dyinglight is about the pure physical terror. Dyinglight is about the pure physical terror of surviving and is inescapable. Dyinglight is about the pure physical terror built around an inescapable day and night dynamic. At first glance, daytime in Haran seems manageable, but this scenario isn't just about dodging slow buses and rooftops, it's about a rapidly evolving virus that turns the dark into a nightmare. In Dyinglight, the pathogen is a rabies-like virus that aggressively mutates. Freshly infected victims turn into virals, fast, agile runners who retain enough human consciousness to scream in horror at what their bodies are doing, even as they chase you down. But the real horror happens when the sun goes down. UV light suppresses the virus's worst mutations, meaning nighttime unleashes volatiles, hyper-agile armored predators, capable of leaping across rooftops, scaling walls and tearing apart a human in less than a second. Let's see how hard it will be to survive the Haran virus. Navigating the world requires extreme physical conditioning and agility. One slip off an edge or getting caught in the open after dusk means instant death at the hands of the mutations. Unless you stay locked up in a UV-lit safe zone, your survival odds drop drastically. Living through this outbreak is mentally and physically exhausting. You are forced into constant high-stakes parkour just to move across the city, constantly watching the sun's position and experiencing the sheer psychological dread of hearing night volatiles hunting you in pitch darkness. Suffering level extremely high. The initial outbreak in Haran spread through fluid contacts and bites so fast that the government panicked and walled off the city within days. This left everyone trapped inside to suffer the total societal breakdown almost instantly. Collapse speed high. Now we'll go on to the final and absolute worst entry on our list, the Crossed. If you found every other scenario here easy, good news for you, bucko, this one you're dying. If you're not dying, you're going to be tortured for the rest of your life. Imagine the worst thing you can possibly imagine. Maybe dipping your balls in a bear trap and doing jumping jacks. Maybe being on the back of the human centipede. Yeah no, the Crossed is 100 times worse than that. At first glance, you might be thinking of standard fast infected, but the Crossed isn't about mindless hunger or loss of motor skills. The infected here retained full human intelligence, speech, memories and tool use. They just lose every single moral boundary. They lose their empathy, their sense of restraint, and instead give into pure, unadulterated cruelty. In the Crossed, infection spreads instantly through bodily fluids, marked by a cross-shaped rash bursting across the victim's face. Because the infected keep their minds, they don't just mindlessly charge into gunfire. They plan ambushes, use firearms, drive vehicles, set traps, and intentionally target military infrastructure and supply lines to maximize human agony. Their sole existence is to make you hurt, and be assured they will do that. They do not just want to kill you, they want to make you suffer in the most sadistic ways possible. Let's see how hard it will be to survive the Crossed. Hiding, building fortresses or forming groups does not work long term, because the infected can outsmart your defenses, use your own tactics against you, or wait you out. Unless you live completely off the grid in total absolute isolation, your survival odds are basically zero. Living in the Crossed scenario is living hell. The mental toll of knowing that your friends, family, or any protectors could instantly turn on you and use their full intelligence to torture you and destroy you creates an unprecedented level of dread and paranoia. Suffering level? Fuck no. The outbreak spreads like wildfire. Because infected individuals intentionally used human infrastructure, transport and technology to intentionally spread the contagion, global infrastructure and government didn't just collapse, they were intentionally demolished in mere hours. Collapse speed near instant. So, what's my verdict? You are not going to survive most zombie apocalypses. If you think you have any chance of surviving a zombie apocalypse,
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy. Okay.
The absolute most you can probably survive is The Walking Dead, and even then that's a long shot. If we work our way up and find the most dangerous zombie apocalypse, The Crossed, no one is surviving that. Thanks for watching this video. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch my incoherent ramblings on random stuff. Be sure to check out my channel. I have other videos just like this one where I cover video games, movies, TV shows and books. This video was probably my longest one yet and I had a ton of fun making it. I would truly appreciate a like, sub and comment. Thanks for watching and I will see you next time. That's pretty it. Gonna wrap this up.